everybody, Travis Tooke here, and in this video I want to share with you one of my favorite and least favorite competition experiences that happened on the same day. This was back in around 1998. It was one of my very first jiu-jitsu tournaments that I had ever done. I was still a white belt, and here's what happened. In my regular division, this was in Dallas, Texas actually, at a Carlos Machado tournament. Back then, tournaments were very infrequent, so when one came around and you wanted to compete, you had to take advantage of it. This was one of the early Carlos Machado run tournaments, and I competed in my weight class. I was a white belt, my opponent was a blue belt. We shook hands, I went out, did a double leg takedown, I went for a stack pass, made a mistake, got caught in a triangle choke, and tapped out. The whole match was about 30 seconds. When that happened, I was kind of bitter. I remember walking off the mat, I took my gi off. I was like 17, I was young and, immature, and I kind of threw my gi in the corner and sat down. I basically acted the way that we teach our kids never to act. So I did all the things you're not supposed to do to be a good sport. And I was pretty upset, and I sat there disappointed. Time went by, I got over it. The only thing left to do that day was the absolute division. And back then, to do the absolute division didn't mean you were in an open weight class with your belt. All of the belts were combined because there were not as many competitors as there are now doing jiu-jitsu. The whole tournament may have had 80 or 100 competitors, maybe less. So it was white belt, blue belt, purple belt, all the belts that were there. There weren't really many brown or black belts competing around back then. There were so few. But it was everyone competing in one weight class. So I did that one. My first match, I went against a white belt. He was quite a bit smaller than me, and I was able to get a submission. And in round two, I faced up against Tim Burrell. And Tim Burrell was one of the first 4 black belts under Carlos Machado. He's now runs a school in Rhode Island, and at that time he was a purple belt, won the Pan Ams I believe as a blue belt, had placed 3rd in Worlds. Now he was a purple belt. He was top student under the top black belt in Texas at that time. And I was just a white belt, 17-year-old kid. I remember being so nervous to fight the blue belt, who was my size in my weight class, and having no fear against this monster Tim, who was probably 230 pounds, higher ranked champion, because there was no expectation. I just decided, all right, I'm gonna go out and have fun and try to kill this guy. And of course what happened was he stomped me, the whole time, passed my guard, mounted me, but I kept escaping. I think he underestimated me. I know he underestimated me because I actually went to live in Dallas not long after that, maybe a year later, and I would train with Tim because he was a student there, and he would tap me out all the time. So I think he was going light, and it wasn't until the very end of the match, after the 6 minutes or so that had passed, that he realized, like, okay, this guy's really trying hard, I better put it to him, and I'm sure he would have tapped me out. But the point was, I survived the match against somebody who was far bigger, stronger, and more skilled than I was, just on effort alone, just my determination to do my best during that moment. And that loss was one of the best experiences for me. It's amazing what can happen when you put yourself out there to compete. You can have losses that are heartbreaking, like the one I had earlier that day. You can have a loss like that where it's just an incredible match where you're trying your best, and even though you lose, you learn so much about yourself and what you're capable of. And just like a win, you can have a win where you're excited and you put on a great performance, or you can have a lackluster performance where you know you could have done better, and although you got your hand raised, it doesn't feel all that good. My point is that competition forces us to adapt, grow, and improve. We always want the win as a result, but that is not the primary benefit to competing. The benefit is who you have to become in order to prepare for that competition, that fear and anxiety that you have to face and walk through in order to do the competition, and the lessons learned once the competition is over. I wanted to share that story with you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, share it with a friend. I hope if maybe you've been on the fence about competing, that this pushed you over the edge and you'll take a shot, go out and compete. If you're feeling real gutsy, jump in the open division. That's a different experience on its own. So enjoy, share this video, leave a comment if you have a similar story, an experience in competition where you learned a lot and just had a great time doing what you love to do. I'll see you next time. Thanks.